Hey, everybody, and welcome back. It's another episode of the Spines and Spirits podcasts. I am one of your hosts tonight, and I am talking too much and saying too little.
And you know who it is. It's Gerald with a G.
We are in The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. For this episode, we're going to have topics going from chapter 60 to 69, and we are kind of going to pick and choose, so we're going to be a little all over the place. Try and keep up. Our assumption is you've read the book. It's by Patrick Rothfuss. I don't remember if I said that before, but that's where the spines part of our names come from. Gerald, what about the spirits?
The spirits, these ain't the goose and goblins. The goose and goblins. It's the ghosts and goblins really out. That goes bumping at night. But now it's the spirits that you take a nice long sip on.
Cheers. And that's smooth tonight, Gerald. What are we drinking on?
That we drinking on the Elijah Craig small batch.
The Elijah
Straight
Craig
Kentucky
small
bourbon.
batch.
94 proof.
94. That's
They
good stuff.
claim they are the father of bourbon.
So we are going to dive right in. Gerald, the first thing I want to talk about is the scriv that comes out of Lauren's office and sees Quoth. He talks to Quoth in Illish because he thinks he's Illish because of his red hair. Number one, I'll put a tag in that. Does that mean that Illish people tend to have red hair, I wonder? Number two, when he realizes that he is not Illish, he is one of the Rue, he says, one family. Do you think he is a Ciridae?
Well, we know that this, we do know this scrib is most likely a well-traveled adventurer for Lawrence, getting books in all across the world. I could say yes because this is one of the moments where Quoth is like, yeah, this is the first person I've seen have open arms in the university. And I could say that. We don't know truly who the Ciridae is yet. We're still speculating, which that's why Adam says, hey, do you think this could be a Ciridae?
Because Master Lauren's a mirror, right?
It got to be something. I would go. I would put. I'll put a talent on that to say that he is.
I will raise your talent.
No, you're gonna raise it though.
So he's one of the changers. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I definitely.
Now that, sir, would be bold.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with all the theories that run around that says that he is one of the Emir. But I wondered if this is one of the Ciridae. So, that was one thing. Like I kind of wanted to. That's one of the things I wanted to jump on right here at the beginning, because one of the things that it uses to describe him is it talks about scars on his knuckles, and it made me think of like the bloody-handed Emir, right? The supposed tattoo that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we'll drop it for there so we don't get too far ahead.
We're gonna see it tonight though. But yeah, did he have his Gerler? I don't think he did. Did he say he have a Gerler? I can't recall.
I don't think it mentions one.
Yes, because Will, when Will was letting Quoth in, I think he said he was speaking to one of his Gillers.
He did.
I think.
Yeah, he did.
So, there we go.
Yeah, it says Lauren's with one of his Gillers.
Mm-hmm. So, one of the Gillers. That's quite a simple. We only know that. Well, we know a couple of teachers have their apprentices have their own Gilders. Kelvin has
Kamar.
Master Loden, unfortunately, has driven his Giller a little daft on occasions. But yeah, that's it. I thought that was interesting play on words. I love how did you find it odd that I'm trying to make sure I say his name right. Diok.
Yeah, Diok.
Yeah. With Quoth is coming back to the oh god, I'm gonna miss up all night. All day today. It's gonna be one of them nights, y'all. The Aeolian. And he was like, yes, your lady's in the back. You know, I mean, Ken try to keep snatching to keep our hands off her. Do you love that how Quoth is so quick to anger about certain subjects? But then, like, in like a couple more chapters, you see him like he's cool as a cucumber. Like, yeah, I kind of expected this already, type deal. You know what I mean? It's like he's laying claim on someone that he literally just met twice.
I think it goes back to, during the admissions where he kept telling everybody, like, ignore my age. And we said there's kind of some flaws here that you shouldn't ignore his age.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things where he wants to be this super mature guy, but in all reality, he's 15 years old. And he is acting with just about the same maturity of a 15-year-old boy during most of these, because, most of the people that, like I know when I was 15 years old in school, like, you would have guys get in fights over girls because they were their girlfriend, or they were going out, or whatever they called it back then. I don't know. But you would have that same, like, possessive quality in teenagers that, is the same thing that Quote's essentially going through. And I think it comes back to this could be the first real, like, love of his life kind of thing, that he doesn't want her to be with anybody else. This jealousy. I said it 3 times, hear it 3 times.
Well, yeah, we already know. We know that Quoth is jealous. We see it later on to the books how far he will reach to his jealousy natures. But yeah, I just love how Dioc and because later on he was like, so how you know Debbie? It's kind of one of the moments like, oh, how you know her? And then I was like, well, Denna, yeah.
Just like last week, Gerald keeps saying Debbie instead of Denna.
You know why? Because I love Denna.
You love the D names.
I do.
Dioc, Denna, Debbie. I'm sure there's more. I just can't think of any off the top of my head.
The Chronicles name.
Devin.
Devin. Yeah.
Diane.
Okay. Diane.
Count Thrip. Yeah, Dan.
Yeah. So yes, anyhow, me and the D's, I tell you, it's gonna be a rough night, y'all. My language is.
That's what she said.
My language is broken today, and I feel like a wheel. They make it all into your language doesn't make any sense. How's it going? Going well.
I know you hit this all the time. Like, you're always saying this. You're like, it goes back to Ben telling him you're too damn clever. But Dioc tells him, no, it's Kilvin. Who is it that says it? It's either Dioc or Kilvin says, like, a moment in the mind is worth 9 in the fire. I think that's Kilvin, isn't it?
I think that will have to be Kilvin.
But I'm sitting here like, Gerald's going to mention this. I know he is. So I might as well beat him to the punch and say it early.
Oh, what you think?
I don't even know if you had it, but I want to throw it out there because it is another one of those moments where, he makes this assumption that all the masters are excellent at naming, and he just assumes Kilvin did it quickly and easily. Kilvin obviously tells him, like, quickly yes, easily no, and talks about planning ahead. And I think that you do see that Quoth takes from this later on as the book moves to where he starts planning his moves ahead. And there will be another character in book 2 that's going to teach him how to play a beautiful game that I think helps add on to that.
Mm-hmm.
And that character is the one that ultimately finds Denna later in the tavern and takes her away.
Is it really? Is it? I have some theories on that one, so we will hit this moment. I'm going to hit a lot of moments.
I'm just saying, because you know the character I'm talking about.
I know
if you go and read his description versus the way Dioc described the person that picked her up to be her patron.
Hey.
All I'm saying is it could be him.
Or is she wearing a glimmer?
There's no glamour here.
A glamour. Damn it. Words. Hard.
Gerald's been really into Twilight lately, and so he thinks glimmer is shimmering.
Shimmer.
And he's not into Twilight right now. Yeah, so, his whole planning ahead thing and how it backfires. It's the same thing with his lamp that he makes for Kilvin, trying to be clever, trying to make something that he thinks is going to make him stand out. And I love how Kilvin sees through him. Kilvin sees through him as if he is just this clear little, transparent sheet hanging in front of him, and he's just like, essentially, tell me you're clever and you're smarter than them and you want me to see it and be done with the matter.
I think it's just another point where, like you're saying, that Kevin is like, okay, yeah, I see you are working harder. And the reason I see why you're working harder is because basically you came to us kind of with pockets full of hoes, really. Meaning you're poor. So, and he sees the drive and the determination that Quoth is trying to go through. But I think it's one of the lessons that Kilvin is trying to teach Quoth is, I like your fire, kid, but you have to learn some patience before you it's like I was saying, you gotta learn how to crawl before you walk. You gotta learn how to walk before you run. And he just went up and run.
And that's why he falls on his face so much.
Oh yeah. And blames it on bad luck. But to see, this is the interesting thing about it. If, just say for instance, I don't know how that will actually work, but if you think about how Kilvin is kind of drawn to Quoth, right? He's like one of, so far we've seen that he's one of the, it's Kilvin's favorite, basically, student.
I do think Kilvin's smart in not rushing to promote him. And, at one point, Quoth even makes that thing where he's like, well, you should just go ahead and promote me then, and then I'll have access to these things. And
yeah.
Kilvin's like, I just might do that. But just like we were saying, where Kilvin's like, one in the mind is worth 9 in the fire. He knows Quoth's not ready. There is a maturity that he's lacking that comes with time, and that comes with experience, with him being able to learn hard lessons along the way. And
well, I also like how Kilvin was like, he comes Quoth in the earlier part of our discussion of the chapters. I think it was 60, I want to say, that Kilvin's like, Quoth is coming to pay his debts to the shop to Kilvin, because Kilvin's been letting him use surprise without charging him. And as you know, Quoth has got a nice little pocket change from his playing. And Kilvin's like, did you come to this honestly? This money? I'm like, what the world?
Good question. Good question.
Who asked that kind of question?
Kilvin is so wholesome, and he just does not BS. Like, he sees, like you said, he knows Quoth is poverty stricken. He knows he doesn't have access to the finer things, and he knows that's why he's busting his tail in the Medica and the Fishery, so that he can make money to live and be able to attend the university. So Kilvin's like, if you have this money,
well, where'd you get this money? Did you earn this honestly? What? Just play music. Oh, so you're one of them people now. So you won't be working in my shop no more. So you telling me. It was almost like a mafia moment. Almost like, so you're telling me you don't want to work for me no more? And Quoth's like, no, I love to work for you. Then go. Get out of my office right now before I make you do some dirty stuff.
For real, he's
go.
Like, good. You need to be working for me.
Yeah.
But what was it? I think it's during this section where Kilvin says something like, music fades but metal lasts, or something along those lines, and Quoth, being clever, is like, metal rusts.
Also real quick, I know we're beating one chapter to death, almost seem like it. Did you love how Quoth is still feuding with Ambrose, and he was like, yeah man, you beat me out of a talent, I'm gonna get that ass for 5.
I like how this whole section too is led off with them kind of going back and forth, and I think is it Will?
Yeah,
Will says he's got the Edamentatas, and Quoth's just like, an exceptionally clever friend would translate that to the edema drip.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of translations, while we're talking about that, this is where I mentioned in episode 1 where he got the name Coat. And I don't know if this is where he got the name, but Kelvin says expect disaster every 7 years, and the word for disaster uses Coat. That was something that I talked about in episode 1. I just want to bring that and highlight it up here because it is mentioned in this section of the book. What do we think about Fela working in the fishery?
Do we know how long she's been working in the fishery?
The way Manette talks, a while. I don't think it gives an exact time frame.
No, I don't think it does. It just says she's always in the morning time.
And we know during this section, not only is she working in the fishery, but she's studying with Elodin. Remember, that's brought up too.
Mm-hmm.
And quotes like, "He's crazy, be careful."
I'm thinking she might be a spy. A clever spy. A beautiful spy.
Elaborate.
Okay, so we're going to get into this moment. You know how Quoth is caught up with finding Denna, and he can never find her, but somehow she can always find him, basically. And so they go back and they do this little back and forth dancing, and then finally Denna's like, well, I'll tell you what, how about you treat me to lunch, yada yada, right? So they have a date planned out, and then a coat happens. You see what I did there? A disaster happens. No, a disaster happens, and Fela was quote unquote, she was caught up into the fire, right? Okay. So let's hear me out. So then he misses lunch, but she finds a patron because of the meeting of the lunch. But then Denna's always trying to find Quoth. When she sees Quoth again, his fellow hands all over him talking about, yes, I bought you this lovely cloth. How's it look?
She's like, I'll be in bed if you want it.
That's not what happened, but yeah. Basically, almost, because I loved how the play was. He's like this, oh my God, Fela, you have a bruise. Are you injured anywhere else? Not where I can show you in public, and twists her legs.
And she doesn't say not where I can show you. She says not where I can show you in public.
In public. I mean,
I bet she hit him with one of these.
Oh no, she hit him with that. She hit him with that thigh action.
Who is she a spy for?
Okay, but hold on. I got something deeper for you.
That's what she said.
So now, we also take it on this point. She helps Quoth put on the Quoth. The Quoth. God dang it.
She helps Quoth put on the Quoth.
His Quoth. God damn it. His cloak.
She fast the button.
That's right. You can't do it either. So he helps her put on the cloak, and she has opportunity to take some of Quoth's hair during this moment.
So you think she's responsible?
And then later on, someone attempts to play on. Takes to take Quoth's life or scare him really bad.
I don't think that's what happened, and I'm gonna tell you why. I don't think Fela who is where they got the hair from.
But it's awfully
Gerald.
Gerald.
I think they got the hair from Denna.
Man, get out of here, man. It ain't from Denna.
I think they got the hair from Denna.
They get it from Denna, man.
So we're gonna go ahead and jump to this robbery scene.
No, we ain't jumping.
Hang on, no, hear me out. Listen to me. Listen to me.
Boom. All right,
so while they are trying to shank or whatever they're trying to do to Quoth, the guy says, I don't want another mess up like we had in Annalyn. Who was in Annalyn? So if they've been potentially looking for Quoth, and Quoth was on the caravan that went to Annalyn, and Denna wanted to find Quoth, for what? We're not sure yet. Would it not make sense for her to give them the hair and then follow him back?
No. I see what you try to draw there, but
it's about to get deeper because I got another one for Denna.
Okay, go ahead.
Denna's the moon.
I see how you can play that words. I see how you try to draw that line, but
Tell
people
me,
won't know.
Tell me.
The fact that how Denna Quoth can never find Denna. Quoth can never find Denna when he's looking for her. But she can always just magically appear in the randomest of times. And then she vanishes just as quickly.
And Diok
like the moon.
Diok talks about knowing her 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And she hasn't changed. She hasn't aged. You know there's a big age between 14 and 16.
I'd say I will go with he's like she was more mature.
So
on that point.
quote, we've already established or actually just say you have and I'm backing you on it.
Okay.
Quoth has a knack for naming, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's this whole back and forth of them trying to figure out what flower she is.
Mm-hmm.
And what flower does he say would be the best gift for her?
Damn it. What's it called?
It's the Celis flower. But why is it the Celis flower? Because it only blooms at night under the moon.
And that's the one where she's like, you're too sweet.
She says, hang on. He talks about whenever they're on their little picnic during this reading that he caught a piece of her smile and shown it back to him. What else shines, Gerald?
The moon shines.
And he talks about how he's trying to resist the pull of her. What else has a pull, Gerald?
You're doing a lot of deep on this one.
Whenever she shows up at Anchors, she says 2 words to him. What does she say?
What does she say?
Steal me.
Okay, so now you're replying. Okay, so we're gonna say that you're replying that she's the moon. Right? She's the moon. And Quoth is a descendant from Jax or Ediax.
Or Lanray or Lyra.
Lyra. Oh, I think he's from Elaclis. So Elaclis was transitioned a little bit different later on. Deep spoilers, y'all, by the way. Denna's wanting Quoth unlock the Lackless Tress that possibly maybe holds the rest of her name.
The way the moonlight casts shadows across her face.
Listen, I'll answer my question, man. I'm not saying one with what I'm saying. So is that what you applied?
Clarify the question, because I'm not sure what you were asking.
I'm asking, are you saying that Denna, aka possibly the moon, is wanting Quoth, who could be possibly a descendant from Jax, which y'all will know about in the second book, who stole the moon originally, or EX, who stole the moon originally, wanting Quoth to possibly unlock the Lackless box, which holds the full name or the piece of the name of the moon that was stolen. That way she could be full again.
That's what I think.
Is that the play you're trying to go? So if that was the case, couldn't she just... Well, no, I guess not, because she has to go away for a while and come back. If you're going to try to play that way. I guess.
Let's not forget, the moon is already pictured as a female from the story.
It is.
It is a woman.
Okay. That's deep, dog. That's deep. So deep. We're going to put a pin on that one. Archive it. Maybe also put it in the stacks. Then put it behind the foreplay door.
So if you're describing somebody, let me ask you this. If you're describing somebody,
all right,
would you say there is not a mean bone in Adam's body? Would you say he is truthful to his heart, or whatever the case is? Or would you say she was beautiful without a flaw to her core?
I see where you went there. Because both Diok and Quoth could not actually describe a description of Denna, really. But since you brought that up kind of a little farther back, it kind of might be. So, with that being said, if she's the moon, or part of the moon, or she is the moon, we'll just go with that. Remember Bash said he met her. And we know Bash is from the Fae.
He is.
Would he not be like, yeah, that was the moon?
Would he know it's the moon? Where does the moon go when it's not in our world?
It goes to the Fate world, then it goes to that one, but it could be a different name. But then, excuse me, I love the part because that's what she was like. It had a crooked nose, Ressie. She had a crooked nose, and I'm like, well, I don't know. I guess when you go with the eyes of the beholder, it's the reason why Bass didn't actually see her for who she was when they first met, or when they met. I don't know if it's like the first time they met, but when they met.
It's possible, and what I'm sitting here trying to think is, and this is something we'll probably need to pay attention to as we go on. Does he ever see Denna on a moonless night?
I want to say in the second book, but I'm not 100% sure. When they was at the court.
We will see. We'll pay attention to that.
We had to pay attention to that.
But I'm telling you, there were too many references to the moon.
But still, I don't think it was her that wanted to dash Quoth that took his hair. I'm going with Fela.
You can go with Fela. I still think that it was a way for her to find him.
But so why would she hire two?
Who says she hired him? Who says that they weren't already looking for him and somebody had already sent them after? Maybe it was the Chandrian. I don't know. Who says that they were not already looking for Quoth? They came upon the caravan that they knew he was a part of, and as they're describing him, maybe Denna goes, "I have this," and then that's a way for them or for her to be led back to him. And I could be wrong. We'll find out.
Could be. I don't know. That was something we had to just pay attention to. Another great mystery. Like I said, we're going to put it in the archives, then throw it into stacks, then put it behind the 4-plate door till later.
So speaking of the 4-plate door.
Okay, boom.
Ari.
She
gives Quoth a coin.
Mm-hmm.
And a Turin penance piece. Who was prominent back then?
Penitent King?
No. Who was prominent during the reign of Atur?
Celiax. Not Celiax. I'm bad with names tonight, y'all. Salatosis, y'all.
So, Ari has an Turin penance piece.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think she could be a cracked or fallen Amir?
She's more than... Okay, let's go with this. All right. Even though we know Master Elodin, right? I think I said his name right. Master Elodin, right? No, I might not have said his name right. The one that quotes Master Namer.
Yeah, Elodin, you said it right.
Elodin, okay.
I think you call him Elodin sometimes, but yeah.
Yeah, no, okay, yeah.
Elodin.
So Master Elodin over here is cracked. Well, we'll say that he's I'll say he's probably cracked from all the naming. Who says that he is cracked? Maybe he's got more sense than everybody else does. But we'll just play from everybody else's standpoint. He sees Ari kind of like on not a nightly basis, but he has bumped into her on several occasions, right? Why has he not tried to, not suggesting like to put her into the asylum, but the rookery, even though that's what it's called. They named
Haven.
Haven. Why has he not tried to put it in Haven?
I'm gonna jump ahead.
Yeah.
He says Haven is not for everyone.
He does.
He says that about Ari. So I think that's why, because he's been in there and he knows that is not the place for her.
Okay, but yet, so here's the thing. I think the issue I'm having. Well, no, because the book's already explained it. But I'm just thinking about it. So, but Master Elodin been so good with naming and everything. He's not able to leave her like clothes or food and stuff like that. I think he says that he tried beforehand and she won't touch it or stuff like that. But she trusts Quoth about it. It's more at it. The reason why I was going with this big old thesis of mine is that I think that Ari is more, well, I guess I have to agree with you. She's more than meets the eye. She's not just like just like a crack student that has, just wandering around here. Could she be one of the, what'd you say? You said you think she's part of one of the Amir or one of the...
She could be an Amir.
Okay, she thinks she's an Amir.
And I do think when you said Celatos, I think she could be a member of his band that left when the Amir were formed, based off of the name of Mir Terrenial.
And she's tired. You think she just got tired of fighting the...
I don't know what it was, and I hope we get to find out.
Well, also, the other thing, like we've come to find out that it's underneath the university anyway. And so, and think about how the stats go, kind of like down and up and down, and where is the 4-plank door, kind of underneath the stairs? Is she just still is she still guarding in her own way of what's going on, just make sure that the 4-plank door don't get reopened?
Do you think that could also be one of the keys to unlocking a piece of the 4-plated door?
Could be, possibly. We don't know. Quoth already mentioned to Master Kevin that there is actually true magic in this world, especially like naming, for instance. So what do we know that what are our true keys? Key might not be the same key that we use today. It could be something shaped in a different form.
And
it could be.
And I do think where you were saying Elodin had been trying to coax her out and stuff, I think Quoth is the one that's actually doing it with the expectation of nothing in return. I do think that pretty much Elodin or others who might have known of her existence were probably doing it with the expectation to find out something about her, to maybe capture her and put her in Haven.
Let me give you another.
I think Quoth doesn't have any expectation for her. All he's doing is he's doing it out of the I don't know if I would say the goodness of his heart, but he's doing it because he cares for her. It talked about during this section that he bought her some sea salt to use. Sea salt is not cheap, meaning that he had to take a lot of his own money that he could have done and used for better things to make sure she had this, because she is very proper and very almost royal, right?
Yeah, because she won't use dresses
secondhand.
She makes you sit down and eat. Sometimes you can have small conversations, but nothing too big. Because if you start talking something big, she'll be like, "Shh, no." I think you might be onto something on that one. Also, since you said about Master Loading might have wanted something from her, do you think also Devi and Quoth? Remember, she was like, Devi was like, "Yeah, I'm expelled and you're banned from the archive. We need to stick together," kind of thing. Do you think? Well, I think we already had this conversation on the channel before. Was did she either? How did she? Why was she expelled? We still don't know that one. That's like a major plot thing where especially from after spoilers, guys. The second way it doesn't tell why she's expelled either. So we still don't know. So we're over here rubbing our heads. What did she do? Was it because it was simple as her Aylar being stronger than one, or can defeat one of the masters, quote unquote, for being a woman. That's kind of hard to buy, just on my end.
I think it had to do that she was trying to get in the 4-plated door.
Mm-hmm. And the hunger she has to go back into it.
Like I said in that episode, she is very similar to Quoth. Quoth, when they meet in the Aeolian, he's basically like, I don't think she remembers me. She doesn't know who I am, right?
Mm-hmm.
They go for this little picnic, and while they're talking, Quoth's being really quiet, and she's basically like, why are you going quiet on me? And he says, I was basically thinking that there are 7 words to make someone fall in love with you, and I was wondering what they were. Her response is something along the lines of, the response is essentially like, how well you knew me even then.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering where you're going, or I was wondering why you're here, whatever it was, those 7 words, she is basically saying like, hey, I've loved you since then. Get the picture. And Quoth is such an idiot.
Well, okay, let me go on this point. I get what you're saying on that part, but you gotta also remember he had a conversation with Dioc.
It's like Sim said, like Quoth is incredibly dense when it comes to women. Because like I remember when I read that for the first time, like I got chills on my arm. Like I was like, Jesus, like she is telling him like, you had me even then. And Quoth is just like, blah.
I don't think he's like blah. I think he's responding. How would I say? I would go more like I'm trying to figure out how to word it so y'all can understand. I'm trying to get in my head. He's more dumb to things. I think it's more that he's like a compass. He goes just straight. You know, you get what I'm saying? I think I'm using a bad word for it, but he's like a compass. He's like to just go straight ahead, and then he catches stuff while you're still going. You know, when you're going straight ahead.
Where Denna says, "How well you knew me even then." I was thinking about this too, and I was trying to find the wording on it. She knew Quoth then. You know, when they were talking about what flower would you give me? She says something about like a bulb of a willow or whatever it is, and he says, does this exist? And she's like, probably not. And he's like, how special? None of that matters, because she says that of all the trees, the willow moves to the will of the wind. And it's almost like she's known ever since she met him that he's chasing the wind. Maybe it's because she's been watching him for a long time in the sky.
I knew you were going to go with it, like the
as
moon.
The moon.
I knew you was going to go and say that. I was waiting for it. I was like, he about to say the moon. I know he is. You're so stupid. Okay.
But so right.
No, okay. So you saying, unlike Jack, sorry y'all, we keep bringing up people. You're like, who's this Jack's person? The Jack's who fell in love with the moon, and that's all he ever wanted. The moon was like, but I gotta go. I must go. I can't stay with you. I have to leave. Now it's turned around where she's like, you know what? I love you from afar. I seen you, and you're just chasing the wind. Because then it puts the theory on her being. Quoth was wrong by the channeling. Then she was wrong by the mirror.
Where do we go from here? Do you have anything else?
That deep? No. Oh, well, I do love the wine conversation with Dioc and Quoth. I think that's what I've been on all night long. It's basically him and Dioc. I love the wine conversation. Dioc is like, what up? So what if she's in the arms of quite noble people, and she plays on her charms and what, you know, you cannot blame her for that kind of thing, you know. And then Quoth was like, but you know, she could do other work. And then I love Dioc, because Dioc was like, my boy, you play so beautiful, and you are witty, but do you have eyes? Do you not see? You don't know the world, kind of thing.
When Dioc, since this is where you're going, Dioc and Quoth were talking. Dioc says, I might not be one of you university folk, but I can see the moon on a clear night.
Oh, good God. Yes, he does. Yes. You and this moon. You and the moon. That was a quote. That was a quote. That was a quote that Dioc said. It says, beer deals the memory. Brand sets it burning. But wine is best for a sore heart and yearning. I thought that was an interesting quote. God damn it. Quote.
That's your favorite quote of the evening.
Hello. It's a good evening for this, isn't it? I said, did you find it odd that how Master Loden saw Quoth on the rooftop, bloodied, no shirt? I don't know I know he was stripping hair out by that time. But do you find it weird that Master Loden wasn't just like, oh, that was my biggest thing?
I didn't find it odd at all. I didn't find it odd at all. And the first time I read this book, I might have, but it's because I have spoilers, and I know that Loden likes to watch the wind naked.
Okay,
So
fine. Fair.
when he comes
enough.
across quote
Fair
bare
enough.
chested, he's probably just like, he's doing homework. I like this extra credit guy. Where was this guy
Please.
when we were up on the roof jumping?
Well, he's like, please. We're friends. We're all friends here. Call me Master. Call me by my first name, Master.
God, I love Elodin. He's the best. Like, I really wonder if he's just got a really dry sense of humor or if he means it.
It makes you wonder. And then quotes themselves like, okay, Master.
Yeah.
It's just like so.
I think
yeah.
that's a good ending point, Gerald, talking about Elodin. What do you think?
That'll roll. We can roll with that one, yeah.
So we appreciate you guys tuning in. Next week, we're going to be hitting chapters 70 through 79, and we're going to have some signs from the what? The Chandrian.
Well, I was going to say, I had to think. I feel like,
Yeah, next week we're going to see some signs from the Chandrian. It's going to lead Quoth on an adventure.
but is it the Chandring or is it something else?
But I think
Blue
we'll get to
Flames?
that. Tune in next week. Thank you guys for stopping by. Gerald, what can they do down below in the description?
You can, on the description, you can hit that notification bell. I'm doing it backwards. Hit that like button and hit that subscribe. I'm all over the place. So y'all
So
do
that's
both of
above that's above the description.
that. Is it?
In the description,
Oh, you can find our socials.
email us, follow us on Twitter. You can see us on TikTok. I have not been great with putting stuff up on TikTok, but I promise I'll get better. It's almost football season. Baldur's Gate 3 season.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to incorporate like an every other weekend stream instead of doing full-blown episodes.
Yeah, we most likely have to, but we're still gonna be here for y'all. Or at least maybe do a little short or a little 3-4 minute conversation that's get y'all primed up, especially for the loyal subscribers listening
And-
to my weird voice.
We are getting really close to the end of this book. We would prefer to do like kind of a short book to cleanse our palate before we move into the second Name of the Wind book or Kingkiller Chronicles to a Wise Man's Fear. So comment, send us an email, talk to us on a social. Like we said, you can find those in the description. Let us know what you want to see us read and react to. Preferably something a little shorter. That way we could do it in 1 or 2 episodes. That way we can cleanse our palate before we dive into the Wise Man's Fear and start preparing for the narrow road between desires.
Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch y'all on the next time.